that's my former boss, Larry Ellison, not Bob. He was my former boss. By the way, the subtitle of the book is God Doesn't Think He's Larry Ellison. So read that book. And the fourth book is the biography of Steve Jobs. In technology, you're all in the engineering school, these are by far the greatest entrepreneurs the world has produced. And now I would add Elon Musk and Larry Page. I think, these are all six. And in each of them you will find, Larry is incredibly competitive. Very, very competitive. That's a hugely important point. Bill Gates is analytically brilliant and a very, very shrewd businessman, actually. It's remarkable. There are no number of MBAs can compete against Bill Gates as a businessman. You have Andy Grove, who is a fantastic strategist. And then you have Steve Jobs, who is an amazing product visionary. So product vision, strategy, competitive instinct, and business shrewdness. These are the four qualities. You don't have to have all four. Each one of these guys has only one. So there is nobody who has all four. Or if there is, you're going to be, number one on the fourth list. But try to understand which one of those is you. And the only way to do that is read those books. Don't kill yourself. I tend to be more like Andy Grove when I look at myself and any of the other two qualities, but I'm not that even.
No problem. Waiting for people to join the program. He is disconnected. So what should we do? We'll wait for him to reach out. So can you repeat the name of the book? Leaflet. Hard drive. What was the third one?
Yeah, just let's get it.
Hard drive. God doesn't think he's Larry. That was the last one. Biography of Steve Jobs. So what were the qualities?
Yeah, that's one of the qualities.
So Steve Jobs is product. He was an amazing product. Business model. What was the Yes.
Yes, great, Peter. Thanks. Hey, Peter, can you repeat in a quick synopsis the 4 books we've got, but what were the product quality, the qualities that each of them represented?
Andy Grove was, and is strategist, which is effectively how to play a chess game. You know, you
Right.
will have competition. You have to think 2-3 moves ahead, and you have to understand market forces and how you will navigate.
Right.
That's Andy Grove.
Right.
Bill Gates, business model, business shrewdness. You know, he's, I think, probably Bill Gates and Dhirubhai Ambani are probably the shrewdest business people the world has seen.
Yeah.
The ability to understand, you know, business dealings. You know, Steve Jobs always said that Bill Gates was not a great product visionary, if you remember, right? He always had a little bit of contempt for Bill Gates, saying, look, you always copy what I do. You never actually innovate anything. Right?
Yes.
And and that's true. Bill Gates is extremely good at recognizing when there's a good product, and extremely good at negotiating the business deals to build a big franchise.
Yep.
And Microsoft, as a business model, if you think about it, you know, you ship buggy software, you force everybody in the computer industry to stick it on their computers, and then when consumers have problems, they call the computer company. Right? I mean,
Exactly.
what a great business model.
Yeah.
Right? Software that doesn't even really work.
Yeah.
Force everybody to ship it. And then when the consumer says, this thing crashes, full screen of death, this, that, you make them call the computer company and you sit back and collect your profits. So, you know, it's a remarkable what he was able to pull off as just the shrewdness of his business strategy.
Yeah. And Ellison?
Obviously, Steve Jobs, let me get to Ellison at the end. He was my boss. He taught me a few things.
Okay.
Steve Jobs, product vision, just having an intuitive understanding for the kinds of products users would love. It's a very different skill, actually, than the other two. And that's why you've seen the Apple, the Mac, the iPod, the iPhone. I mean, it's hard to imagine a single human being having created so many products that one after the other, you know, in mass markets consumers just love, right?
Yeah.
And then Ellison is the competitive athlete. Ellison is, you know, he's nothing excites him more than the idea of a fight. The idea that, okay, we're going to get into the ring and we're going to slug it out. And you know, he's the guy who would say that, you know, after you've won your 3 rounds in boxing or whatever, on the way out of the ring, when the referee's not looking, give another solid kick to the he's dead. You know? So he's just naturally, he loves competition. And so, you know, you won't, as I said, you won't find all of these qualities in one entrepreneur. It's just impossible. You do find what I would call a primary quality.
Yeah. So,
And
which brings us to
you
teams.
guys could hear me?
Yeah, Peter, that brings us to teams. Should you really be looking, Peter, should the entrepreneur really build a team in order to cover all these 4 qualities?
Yeah, very much. You may not be able to cover all 4 realistically,
Okay.
but you know, I would say 2 or 3 in your team are extremely important. You know, I would say if you look at Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer, I would say Ballmer represented competitive athlete, and Bill Gates represented the shrewd businessman. And you know, they just copied everything he did. So, in fact, they had Steve Jobs on their team. Let's keep watching him.
They had a surrogate product manager.
You get to go ahead.
I said they had a surrogate product manager. A surrogate product manager.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, but now, but the thing is that,
2 to 3.
but Peter, these entrepreneurs are getting younger and younger. So, what do you expect in a 20, 25-year-old entrepreneur in terms of these kinds of skills or personality traits? Or what should they have? What should these young entrepreneurs have? Because, I'm sure out of this class of 30, 40 entrepreneurs, at least about, a few of them are going to start entrepreneurial gigs, and others are going to be entrepreneurial in a corporate environment and hopefully become entrepreneurs later on. So what should they have?
Yeah. I do think that even at a young age, if you look at today's entrepreneurs, many of them, Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Page, these guys, really even Bill Gates, Michael Dell, and all of these guys started at 18, 19, 20, while I would agree that they are older now that they're famous, a lot of them do. I mean, it's almost like being a college dropout is sort of a requirement. Not that I recommend that in your class, but it's a high correlate. If you look at Larry Ellison is a dropout, Steve Jobs is a dropout, Bill Gates is a dropout, Zuckerberg's a dropout, Michael Dell's a dropout. So you do find actually these kind of, at least I would say tendencies, at least general inclinations towards one or two of these qualities. It's part of your DNA, it's part of who you are. Don't try to be somebody you're not. You'll find out that if you're an actor, if you also like to play basketball or cricket, you're the guy who's always fighting and, cheating to win. Well, you're more like Larry Ellison, than you are as somebody else. So you'll see the early indications of the type of person you are, and it does. I would say age is actually on your side.
Right.
The sooner you recognize it, the sooner you just say, this is sort of what my talent is, or my quality is, the better.
Okay, Peter, thank you very much.
I'll give you another small story.
Okay.
I
Go ahead.
I came to the U.S. I came to the U.S. when I was 18 years old. I actually went to IIT Delhi for one semester, and then I also had admission to the University of California in the U.S. And I came here with a little bit of financial help, and very quickly realized that I didn't have the money to actually pay for all the tuition at school. And at the age of 18, I've also realized that after 1 year of one year in IIT, I was 3 years ahead of the typical first-year student in the U.S. So the first thing I did, literally within months of getting here, I started a tutoring company. Tutoring, the first-year students here, physics, chemistry, math. I mean, one year in IIT, you're just so far ahead. And that's how I paid for college. So I actually started my first business at 18.
Wow.
And I would say it wasn't strategic. It wasn't, product vision by any stretch. But it was kind of beginnings of shrewd business thinking, that got me to sort of that stage of very quickly recognizing that there was an opportunity and people would pay money
We pay
for stuff that I had, learned for free. It's a pretty good business.
Phenomenal. Great. Any other final words for us? Should these ID students...
No, it was a pleasure. I was watching all of your faces and yeah, it was fun listening, watching your faces, good questions, the couple that came through, and I run an accelerator, so if you ever decide that you guys want to start companies, even if it's hard, send me your ideas, send me your thoughts on, we can take young entrepreneurs and help them build big companies. So always welcome to send me an email and say, hey, I'm thinking of this, or I have an idea. Is it worth accelerating? Is it worth moving a company around? Happy to you're all like me when I was, naive, so you always have my goodwill.
So I just
One question, just a minute, yeah.
Sir, I just want you to predict the future of social networking sites.
Can you predict the future of social networking sites?
Sorry.